Just as we left you this morning, we're going to come back in with the grand tradition of Tees Valley Nature Partnership with more Pecha Kucha. So I'm going to introduce to you first Paul Harman on Urban Rewilding Darlington Open Spaces Volunteers, or DOVES. Go!
Hello, my name is Paul Harman, and currently I'm chair of the Darlington Open Spaces Volunteer Environment Scheme, otherwise known as DOVES. And what we are is a forum for all the amazing volunteer groups around the town that look after green spaces, from South Park or Drinkfield Marsh, or in my case, where I started, I joined in with the Friends of Snipe Pond in 2013. And in 2022, I had an idea for another one, another place called Butterfly Green. So, start the clock. Now, this ugly bridge, which crosses the River Skerne about 1.5 miles downstream from here, connects a housing estate called Skerne Park to an abandoned sewage works. And nature has been recovering this site since 1938. Now, when you cross that bridge, you will turn left and you'll first come to a play space with a woven willow hedge, a hazel coppice, which is maintained by Durham Wildlife Trust, and then you come to this, another ugly bridge, which is the underpass of the A66, where local kids have hung out for decades and expressed themselves. This, which comes after, is a lovely right-of-way which connects with Teesdale Way and therefore out to the west, and wonderful walks to the west and south of the town. We decided also, we friends of the Snipe Pond, was to start a wildflower meadow. And of course it was a disaster. We pulled out thistles and docks and everything for a couple of years and forgot about it. And we said that the council could poison the ground, as they usually do, and put in this artificial one. And it, again, went haywire, as they always do. So the river overflows, and this is the result. The ground is too rich, and so when you get the farmer's field is planting rapeseed on the other side, on the bank of the River Skerne, the seed comes in, and that's what you get. So this is our pride and joy. This is the pond, Snipe Pond, a fishing pond, but in fact it's the settling tank of the old 1888 sewage works. There was the Brown Trout Fishing Club, exclusive fishing club, quit when they discovered that local kids were poaching their fish. So nowadays any kid can fish in it, as long as they share the fish with the cormorants who come. This we planted, this planting around the edge of the pond. We planted those things, and this here is my garden. I don't know if you know, but there's an important Facebook page called Darlow Gardens. I recommend you go there to share your ideas about a public open space. And over the back wall, shrubs we have encouraged to grow. That will provide a corridor for insects and birds up and down the famous back alleys of Darlington. But that's a posh back alley. The reality for most people is coming up in the next slide, and it's that. There are some hideous back alleys in Darlington, and there's an awful lot of urban neglect, which is going to cost millions to do something with. But in this particular area, if you turn a corner just before that building on your right, you'll come to this. In between some terrace streets, there is this green space. The man who lives on the right here doesn't like it because it gives him hay fever. But it is an urban lung. It's a place where kids can play. And there are, surprisingly, quite a range of native species and also, obviously, garden escapes as well, and things which have come in with birds and on the wind. So the next picture when it comes, will show you that that's the plan. You can see that in between Greenwell Street and Rosalind Street, there's a backland area. The two squares on the right-hand side of the plot are still there. They're warehouses, and everything else has gone. And so that's been rewilding itself for about the last 50 years. My fantasy was that this would be a wonderful butterfly green, and that's a stock picture because that's the only one I could find with a buddleia and a bird and a butterfly on it. The reality is somewhat different. That's what it looks like in the winter time of the year. They put up that fence to try and stop people dumping stuff, but it wasn't very successful. But in the summertime, it is true, the buddleias do provide flowers and butterflies do come. So that's what we removed in the first year, and we've done two similar kind of clearances, local people plus volunteers. We've cleared that amount of stuff a couple of times so as to make it possible for people to at least not have the discomfort of seeing the rubbish. This is one of the native species that lives here. That's the brick. The bricks are far more prevalent than the snails or any other kind of living creature, but hopefully in the future, as nature gets going, she's only had 10 years to work on this bit. And this fellow came while I was taking pictures of the catkins, and he was very upset that I wasn't taking pictures of him, so he shouted at me. There are birds that come. I don't think they nest yet, and I'm not sure what we should do next. You see, this builder's rubble is the remnants of the old sheds and garages that were there. What would want to live there? I don't know. So the question is, how much should we intervene in an urban space like this? What value does it have? It has to be attractive, or it will be nothing more than a dumping ground, unloved. So please, if you have suggestions, would you post them on our Facebook page? Our Facebook group is called Butterfly Green. Thank you.